Basically, Newt Gingrich has, I guess, explained it perfectly for all of us to understand to ABC News. Take a listen.
An Obama plan, led and driven by Obama, in this atmosphere, with the level of hostility towards the president and the way he goads the hostility, I think it's very hard to imagine that his bill is going to pass the House.
If the president proposes legislation, do you think it will fail?
Of course it will. And that's why we are working together, Republicans and Democrats.
So for no other reason there, I mean, we start out with Newt, we finish with a John McCain just saying, of course, it'll fail, with no other explanation given, other than because it's from President, of course it's going to fail. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Well, there's another aspect of this that occurred to me while I've been sitting and listening to the commentary and to the public officials who've weighed in. Thomas, you and I would probably address this subject in a different context if he hadn't brought forth a plan. Because then the criticism would be, can you imagine this president? He's yet to even give us a plan for immigration. He's damned if he does, and he's damned if he doesn't.
No, it's a great point, because now that this has come out, it does give the White House an opportunity to see where the temperature of the country is right now as we get to talk about this, and more voters get to be informed about where both sides are. But, Michael, are you surprised at the Republican backlash to this, or is it just another day at the office, so to speak?
I am surprised because I don't think that there's really anything new here. Maybe the 8-year time period is new, but that doesn't seem like that's out of the range of what has been discussed. So I've been analyzing this story since USA Today broke it over the weekend and trying to determine, well, where's the new data that has everybody upset? And, Thomas, I don't think that there is any new information. I think it's a written articulation of what he's been saying, most notably in that Las Vegas speech.
Yeah, it really is not a lot of new things. And the point that you made, Michael, is the same thing that Robert Gibbs said this morning, and I believe it was on the Daily Rundown. Take a listen.
The president has said all along that if Congress won't act, he'll have his own plan. And you remember not too long ago, it was Republicans who were saying the president hasn't led on this because he doesn't even have his own plan.
Sure, is that true? I mean, damned if you do, damned if you don't. And this goes to show that the White House is following up. You know, it's not just in words, but in deed. That the speech in Vegas, it's not just to push, you know, the immigration aid. It's the fact that we're going to work as well and get something done.
Yeah, but I think this time is a little different. Immigration is a little different. It was a group of senators, a bipartisan group of self-starters in the Senate who took it upon themselves, worked very quietly for several months saying, hey, White House, we got this. You don't need to encroach on our turf. We're working on this. It's just a different case. That said, the president, you know, the rap on the White House these days is he does not communicate with Congress at all. But this leak is not considered a communication with Congress. I think probably the more productive thing for the White House to do would have been to make a few phone calls, invite a couple people up for beers and nuts, that kind of thing.
But is this fulfilling a promise that's 4 years late, Raul? The fact that the president promised comprehensive immigration reform after being elected the first time.
Right.
And now the people that got him back into office, they expect something for a promise that wasn't fulfilled in the first 4 years.
Absolutely. I can tell you, Latino voters across, all affiliations are following this issue very closely. And, we have this unusual situation where the president is really, it's a conundrum. As you mentioned, he's called upon to lead. If he stays back from it, as he did in the early stages of the health care debate, then he's going to be criticized for not taking part. And yet, with the House Republicans that we have, once he jumps in, anything that goes to Congress with his fingerprints on it, they will not vote for it. So I think he almost has to do these leaks and almost has to keep the outside unofficial pressure on the Republicans in order to nudge them along. It's a very tricky fine line he's on, but I think it's necessary.
And while we talk about the leak over the weekend from USA Today and Marco Rubio's reaction, he was a big-time star Saturday night on SNL, appearing there. But the interesting thing, while he's been tweeting about this, the other thing is we've been looking at his Twitter feed. He's gone to the Middle East. He tweeted good morning from Amman and a picture, and then has now moved on to Israel, where he's going to have a meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu. And the Jerusalem Post headline there is rising Republican star Rubio set to visit Jerusalem. Michael, I want to ask you, this is all basically, if we're looking at the sea, looking at the waves like surfers, this is 2016, you're lining it up, foreign policy experience, sitting down with Bibi, the whole thing.
Well, it's true, and there are a number of boxes that one has to check if they're going to head in that direction. And I might note that on the Democratic side of the aisle, here's the former Secretary of State now going off on a limited speaking tour. So it seems perhaps that they're at loggerheads, and time will tell.
It's an interesting time, though, but a lot of press for Marco Rubio this weekend, that's for sure. My thanks to all three of you. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.